All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So today we only have 2 sentences dealing with direct quotation, so that shouldn't take us long to complete. So I'm not gonna go over and explain it. I just want to see if you know what to do when you're approached with the sentence. Tomorrow is your test, and this will be the same way. You'll have a couple of sentences on your test on tomorrow that you'll have to write the correct way. You can go ahead and begin. Okay? Dennis and Abaya, yep, you got it. Yeah or no? Yeah, okay. All right, guys, let's go over our sentences. I don't know. Number one says, Monica asks, did you eat lunch? How would I write this one the correct way? Okay, Mariah? You have the last first letter M in Monica. Put my comma.
And
Quotation marks going what? Quotations on did, and at the end of lunch, because that's what she said. Quotations going what she said. Question mark at the end, and make sure to capitalize that D. Did you eat lunch? Okay, next one. I ate lunch, said Tyler. How would I write this sentence the correct way? Okay, thank you.
capitalize I.
First letter I, capitalize.
Put quotation marks with said and time. I ate.
Okay, yeah. Quotations on I and lunch right here on what they said. Okay, what goes here? Period. It can be period or comma. Either one is fine. Okay.
And here.
Capitalize C and Tyler. Finish with the period. Okay, guys. Tomorrow is your test. This one, we are still going to be doing quotations next week, but we're moving on to indirect quotations. These are direct. We'll be moving on to indirect next week, so make sure to get this down all the way, okay? Dennis and Avaya, did we write this? Yep, okay. All right, go ahead and get out your letters book, guys.
Yep, my book, the letters, my letters was down there. Let me put my notebook in there.
We're on 64 today. Page 64 in your letters book.
I did that.
You should have, because I never assigned that page.
Okay. Oh, I want the letter L. Paper box.
All right, guys, y'all can go ahead and begin. Page 64. You can begin. I'll give you like maybe till 9:40, okay? You can begin. Yes. Phonics and language, page 205, dictation. 205 for our dictation. Phonics and language. Yep.
We'll done because we just have 300 and then we done.
That's clear.
I mean, 2 8. I didn't do that. I didn't tell everybody. But I did it. Where? Wait, what is the cancel?
All right, let's go ahead and go over our dictation. All right, so we're writing the whole word. First word is shelter. Shelter. Like we had to take shelter to not get wet from the rain. Shelter. Shelter.
Could I do this one? You don't know.
How do we spell shelter? Okay, Emily Shelter.
S-H-E-L.
S-H-E-L-R, shelter. Good. Okay, next word, guys. Hello. Hello.
The teller was easy.
Hello. Put it away.
Because it was doing the same.
Oh, yeah.
Don't have it. No, I'm not.
Uh-huh. Oh, you need to go.
What? This being a cleaner and I'm a country.
Sit down.
They want to go to break.
Okay, hello, how do we spell hello? Okay, Naraya.
H-E-L-L-O.
H-E-L. Next word, squirrel. Squirrel. Squirrel.
You said squirrel?
No, twirl, like I will twirl the streamer, twirl. Okay, how do we spell twirl, Carson? Twirl, twirl. Next one, bottle, bottle. Bottle.
Nothing to eat on the floor. Okay, I'm gonna do that all about.
Yes. Stop. Okay, bottle. How do we spell bottle? Banana. Okay, big bottle.
B-O-T.
Ooh, missing a letter.
Is B.
B O T T. Two T's. B O T T. Okay.
So she did. So then, look. I did right.
All right, let's do our bottom sentence. You go ahead and finish the rest. Amy's garden has many flowers. Amy's garden has flowers. Garden has many flowers. Amy's garden.
What was it again, Miss Fulton?
Amy's garden has many flowers. Okay, Amy's garden has many flowers. Good. All right. So that's all for our dictation. Let's cover our lesson on the board today. Then we'll move on to our math. Well, I'm sorry, reading. All right, so today we're going to learn about what's called past tense verbs. Okay. The job of a past tense verb is to talk about an action that happened already, right? So sometimes things may have happened in the past, right? That's the word past. And past tense verbs are the way you write a verb when it's already happened. It's past tense. It happened already. So for example, if I would say, I will work. Work is our action in here, right? Did I do it yet? No, I'm saying that I will work. I will work. But once I've already done the work, now I turn it into yesterday I worked. So whenever we have past tense verbs, one way to turn a verb into a past tense verb is by adding ed to the end of it. Some of them you will add ed to the end of it, ed to the end of it to show that it is past tense. It happened already. So in this case, I will work means I'm going to do it, but when I do the work, it turns into yesterday I worked. And now we have ed on the end of it. Okay, our next one. John will jump on the bed. What's our verb? Jump. Did he do it yet? No, he's going to do it. Once John does jump on the bed, then we say John jumped on the bed. Now I have to add an ed at the end of it to show that it happened already. These are past tense verbs. It shows that it already happened. It was done already. John jumped on the bed. Let's look at this one. Sue will eat dinner. Sue will eat dinner. So did she eat yet?
No.
No, eat is our verb. Now, some past tense verbs, you don't add ed at the end of it. Sometimes you have to change the whole word. It does not turn into eat it. That's not the word. Sometimes you will add ed. Sometimes you have to change the word. So this is a case of that. Sue will eat dinner. She didn't eat yet, but once she eats, we're going to say last night, Sue ate dinner. So to show the past tense of eat, it becomes ate. So those are past tense verbs, are verbs that happened already. Once it happens already, it's called a past tense verb. Let's look at the next one. I will go on a run later. Run is our verb. Did it happen already?
No.
No, it did not happen yet. But once it happens, you will say earlier I ran. Earlier I ran. So you see that? So these are examples of past tense verbs. Past tense verbs are verbs that happened already, meaning it was done already. Okay? So let's do an example. So Cameron blew or blowed his birthday candles out. Blew. Blew would be the past tense verb showing that it already happened. He blew them out. While fishing, Ryan dropped his can of bait and it sinked or sank. Sank. It sinked or sank. It sank. It happened already. It sank. Mother baked or baked a delicious cake. Baked. She already did it. Ed. Baked. Lucas played or plays on a baseball team. Played. He played. Okay. So past tense verbs show that it already happened. Some of them you will change it. You will add an ed at the end, and some of them you have to change the whole word to show that it's past tense. Okay. So you'll see this on your book later on. I think on Friday for your pages. Past tense verbs showing how the verbs will. It shows that it already happened. Okay. All right, good job, guys. Let's go ahead and get out your reading for today. All right, let's go over the initial. All right, guys, we're on page 16. Top knot. Page 16, no, I'm gonna give her a thing. No. All right, Dennis, you can start us off on 16. Yeah.
Science? In
No,
science?
reading. Our reading book, Across the Meadow.
Top knot. At a beautiful farm on the countryside, there was a large pen of chickens. The chickens had a nice coop to keep them warm in the winter and to keep, and dry in the spring. A wire fence ran all the way around the pen, and the ground was covered in soft dust. One day, a hen named Topknot was walking near the fence. She heard a cuckoo. She looked up quickly. There, on the other side of the fence, was an animal she had never seen before. The strange animal had a lovely thick red coat and a bush and a soft bushy tail.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there's a beautiful farm with a lot of different, right? And so the chickens had a nice coop, kept them warm. And so who is Top Knot? It's a what? A chicken, thank you. A hen named Top Knot was walking by the fence when she heard a chuckle. Okay. And so on the other side of the fence was an animal she never saw before. Now we know the animal, but she didn't. She described it. She didn't know who he was. Okay, 17, Avaya.
Oh my, said Top Knot, your coat is splendid. I wish I were as beautiful as you. The animal swished her tail and gave a slightly grin. Then she thought of a plan. This old red coat, she grinned. Why, I look terribly cramped standing next to such a beautiful hen. Me, Top Knot chuckled in shock. Oh yes, said the animal. Look at your pure white feathers and your fine red.
Okay. All right, so Top Knot and that animal starts to talk, right? And so Top Knot was amazed at the beauty of the animal's coat. Okay. And so the animal though thought of a plan and was like, oh, this coat, why it doesn't look good. And she's like, you're more beautiful, right? She says, you look more beautiful than me. And so Top Knot is like, wow, me? So let's go ahead. So do you think the fox means that?
No.
No, probably not. Okay, Kinley, 18. Anytime the G is by an ER, why the G will say G. So let's look at it for example. So look at the G in this word here. It's by an E. So what would the word be? Okay, in this case, you have DG. DG is always followed by a start vowel. The word is
When she was born, feathers.
next one, look at that G. It's by an E. So the G will say G. The word is. Next one, look at the G. The word is.
Around the
Next, again, and by E, so it will say the word is.
I am so much.
And our last one, we have DGE and PL. The word is. They both say the same exact sound. They both say. You start the Monday we come back. We'll be on
the farm. I am
what's the word I can create from the blend?
It's so good cry. Don't go there.
Quack. Can I create from quack?
And quack.
Quack. And no.
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 There. But Top Knot.
A word from grass. Spread. Okay, spread. No, that'll work.
But top not don't go there and all the
Spread,
ornaments
or cancel
cancel.
the final script.
Oh no, not
Script, like you write a script. And snug. You done? Snug. Snuggle. Sounds in these words. First word with WH. Vowel, long I, sound E, WH, the word is. And it has white. Next one. Perfect sound. Alright, so the fox starts to flatter the hen, right? And so he's like, oh, everyone must admire your beauty, you're beautiful. Okay. And so then Top Knot says, I really want them to see me, but what was in her way of everyone seeing her? The fence, right? And the fence was there to protect her, whether or not she wants, there's another one. Whether or not she wants to believe it, the fence is there to protect her, right? And so the animal's like, that's a shame. So whenever he left, when she left, the animal was gone. You know, Top Knot started to think, man, I am too beautiful, right? Maybe I should cross over this fence, right? She's like, I'm the finest animal on the farm. Maybe, And so she wanted to go over the fence, but what does the rooster tell her? He says, do not go over the fence. Don't do it. Okay, 19, Faith. Why? Why are you circling the P? Why? So why? Tell me why. It is like sleeping. Next one. My goodness, word sounds. Okay. Close the marker. Just
But
that.
Top Knot did as she pleased, and over the fence she went. She down the road to show off her lovely outcome. How proud she was as she walked down the road that brought the red animal slipped out of the woods and caught Top Knot by the neck. The rooster crowed loudly, a fox, come and help.
So did Top Knot listen to the rooster when he warned her? Nope, she did not. She still went anyway, and obviously, which they already knew, what ended up happening to her when she went over the other side. The fox grabbed her by the neck, and the rooster's like, a fox, a fox. Next one. And just read. You don't have to show them the pages. Just read.
All the farm animals came running to help Top No.
Next one, David.
The cow moved, and horses neighing, moved, and the goats raged at the fox. Let Top no. Go and scratch that into no.
The whole words. L-E-R. The word.
Let's Tokyo go and scratch back into the woods. Top Knot was glad to get away and run home as fast as she could. When she was safe inside the fence again, she looked herself over and the lovely white feathers around her neck were gone.
Okay, so the fox grabbed her by the neck. The fox grabbed her. That's what they were trying to warn her what happened if she went on the other side. Okay, but what did the animals do to help her? Why would you mess it? What did the animals do to help her? Yeah, they started making noises, right? And did it frighten the fox? Yes, so that was a good thing. And so Top Knot was able to get away, but what happened to her feathers? They were gone. Feathers in her neck were gone. Okay, 21, all right?
Then she began to cry. She see how I look now. Now, said the rooster. It is not good to be proud. Knock hung her head. She knew that her pride had gotten into trouble from that time on. She was very glad to stay in the pen with other chickens.
Yep, she learned her lesson. She wasn't gonna do that again, so now she would stay where?
In the pen.
She would stay in the fence now. She's like, I'm not gonna cross over now, and I'm not gonna do that again. So she learned her lesson. Very much so learned her lesson. Okay. All right, guys. So we actually have to stop here. We have math to cover. Well, I don't know. Math. We should be able to go ahead and get your math books out. Let's see. Lesson worksheet. Just one thing I have to kind of go over in math. Something new that we'll be learning today. No. Well, yeah, that too. But okay. So go to this page for me in your book. Sit down. I can't see. Sit down. Page 104. This is what it looks like. Lesson worksheet 104A. This is what it looks like. Find this page. Lesson worksheet 104. You'll need a ruler as well, guys. Online, if y'all don't have your ruler, you'll need your ruler today. All right, we're good. Vi and Dennis. Oh, Dennis not back yet. He's probably getting the page. Okay, let's go ahead and get started, guys. All right, so what we're gonna be moving on to is finding the perimeter of a shape. Okay, the perimeter or the parameter, same word. Okay, so when you are finding the perimeter of a shape, you are finding the area around the shape. Okay, and so thank you. 1 second. So whenever we find the perimeter of the shape, we are finding the area of the shape. Okay. So I said we would need our rulers because that's what we're going to use to find the perimeter of the shape. So specifically, we've been measuring using the inches side, but what we're going to do now is we're going to flip our ruler and we're going to start using the centimeter side. It's going to be super important when finding the perimeter of a shape. You have to use the centimeter side. You cannot use the inches side. If you use the inches side, you'll get the measurement wrong. So you have to make sure that when you're finding the perimeter, this is the word perimeter, when you see that in your book, perimeter, when you're finding the perimeter, you use the centimeter side, okay? So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like and how it works to find the perimeter of a shape, okay? So first thing you'll do is you're going to measure the sides of each shape, each side of the shape, okay? 103. So what that looks like, so I'm going to start measuring. So I'm going to do this one. This one is 10. And guys, honestly, with the square, no, you're not yet yet. With the square, guys, honestly, every side will be the same. That's something that you will automatically get with the square. Each side will be the same length, each side. So I don't even need to measure because they'll all be 10. Okay. So once I measure all 4 sides with the centimeters, I measure all 4 sides. Now I need to find out what's the perimeter of my shape. What I do is I add up all the sides together. So that will be 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. That's how I added up. 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. Then the perimeter would equals 10, 20, 30, 40. Perimeter is 40 centimeters. That's how we find the perimeter. You measure using centimeters. You measure each side of the shape, measure each side, add them up, and whatever your answer is, that's what you call your perimeter. See that? Yeah, do you understand? Did it in the volume? All right, so let's look at our page that we're on in our book. Let's look at the shape A. It's a triangle. It's a right triangle. Okay, let's measure the top line with centimeters. Go ahead and measure the top line. Tell me how much it is. With the centimeters, make sure you're using centimeters, guys. It's not 14. Measure again. Dennis and Abby, what y'all have? 12. So go ahead and put 12 centimeters. 12 centimeters. Okay, we got it. 12 centimeters. All right, let's measure the line, the vertical one here on the side. This one. The vertical one on the side. What is there not to get? What is there?
9.
No, the other one. Yeah. Okay.
Nine centimeters.
Okay. Oh no, that's the wrong one. This. All right, so the top one is 12 centimeters. The one on the left is how much? 9. Okay, measure that last one. The oblique is the one going in the diagonal. Measure that line.
15.
Okay, how much?
15.
15 centimeters. All right, so now we're going to add all this up. So we're going to do 12 centimeters plus 15 centimeters plus 9 centimeters. So 50. So in the center of it, put 15 centimeters plus 12 centimeters plus 9 centimeters on that line in the center. Put that. Okay. And so guys, it'll be hard to add it up like this. So you're probably going to have to set it up. Yeah, but I'm saying it's going to be hard to add it like that. So you're going to need to set it up this way. Okay, so let's set it up like this so we can add it. It's gonna be too hard to add it horizontally like this. That's way too hard to add it that way. So we need to set it up on the side like this. No. Write it as it like this. Write it like that. But then on the side, we're gonna add it like this. Okay, now write this on the line. That. Okay, let's add it up. So we have 5 plus 2 is 7, then 7 plus 9 is 16. Put your 6, carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. What's the perimeter? 36 centimeters. That's our perimeter. 36 centimeters. All right. What? That's good. Yeah, it's good to like add stuff. All right, y'all chill out. Okay, we got that one. Let's go to the square now. So remember, guys, I told you the square, usually when you measure one side, all of them will be the same amount, just the square. So go ahead and measure the square, measure your top line, and that will tell you what the rest of them, the measurement of the rest of them are. You can measure all 4 if you want, but yeah. I'll go to the bathroom. Okay, go ahead and measure it all. So what was each side? Each side will be how many centimeters? 10 centimeters. Okay, so let's put the number sentence. So we should have 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. Well, I did that one plus 10 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. And when we add all of them up, what would our perimeter be? 40 centimeters. All right, we have that. Avaya and Dennis, yes? All right, let's go. There's the back side. Go to the back of this page. There's the back. Flip it and go to the back. Rectangle. So this one will not be the same. We will have to measure the sides.
Miss Fugins, I don't have the back.
Okay. Hmm.
So we just like do like this, and then the other side is the same side as this side. Like these two would be.
Yeah, those were 2 in the top and bottom. Yeah.
No.
Okay, so what was your top line? How much should it have been? 10 centimeters. What was your sides? 14, and in the bottom should also been. All right, let's do the number sentence. So it should be 10 centimeters plus 14 centimeters plus 10 centimeters plus another 14 centimeters. Okay, we got that? 10 centimeters plus 14 centimeters plus 10 centimeters. Okay. All right, so let's add it up. So guys, we know 10 and 10 will be 20. So really we just need to add the 20 and the 2 14s after that. So 0 plus 4 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, then 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 5 is 38 centimeters. Okay, so that's how we find the perimeter. We have to measure, first of all, using centimeters. Make sure we measure it right, add them all up. That's your perimeter, okay? That's what we wanted to cover with math. All right, good. All right, so go ahead and put your math away. Let's go over your science and social studies. We'll be able to finish today. Well, we won't have to come back. Yeah, we'll spell it and then we're done. Second grade. Too much. Too much. Guys. They can just put it themselves. Go ahead and get us your science social studies, guys. All right, so animals of the pond habitat. Pond habitat. Okay, so guys, we talked about the ocean last week, and so the pond is similar to the ocean, except the pond is freshwater instead of saltwater. It's a freshwater habitat, right? And a lot of the animals, there are certain animals that will live in the pond, not so much of a variety like in the ocean. So the first thing we talked about is that a pond is a lot smaller than the ocean, and a pond is also a freshwater habitat. Okay, and so we know that the water in a pond is perfect for the animals that live there. The water is perfect for those animals. So on page 68, we talked about the space. Okay, and so we talked about the beaver. That's probably one of the largest animals that live in a pond habitat. And so the pond is a nice enough size for him not only to live, but remember, beavers will build their lodge and their dam. They'll build that also along the pond as well. So because they built those things near the pond has to be big enough where they could build it, but also the lodge makes the pond wider and deeper as well. Okay, so the food in the pond habitat is there's a variety of food. I told you guys the top of the food chain will probably be like a beaver. Nobody's hunting the beaver, even though he doesn't eat the other animals. The beaver eats mostly like bark and berries and things like that, grass and plants. The turtle is the top predator, we would say, in the pond, because he is usually eating the tadpoles, the fish, different animals like that. He's usually eating those animals. And so remember, fish, frogs, they can lay lots of eggs at one time. They can lay a lot of eggs. Insects, they lay a lot of eggs. So the turtle is essential because he'll eat a lot of those things. And that kind of helps to keep the habitat balanced, right? We don't have so many tadpoles, so many insects, so many fish, because the turtles in the pond will eat on those things, right? So that's how they keep it balanced. So on 69, we discussed the shelter. And we, of course, know a lot of the animals will live inside of the pond, like the fish, a lot of the turtles. But the beaver, he lives on the outside, but he builds a home, his lodge. He builds the lodge out of mud and stone and branches, and he knows how to make it perfect, right? He makes his pond perfect, his lodge perfectly. In the midst of his lodge, he will build a dam across the stream, and the dam helps to filter the water. It also helps to make the pond wider. It makes the pond deeper. It also makes the soil around the pond, good to where a lot of different plants can grow around the pond as well. So the beaver is probably one of the most important parts of the pond because his home helps the pond in several ways. Okay. So then we also talked about on 70 how God designed the beaver perfectly for his habitat. He has webbed feet in the back, which help him to swim in the water as he's building his house. He's called an engineer because of how he builds. He also has claws, like his front feet are like claws, like hands, because he's able to dig and grab and do things like that. And then God also gave him a tail, which he uses his tail to fight off predators that may try to hunt for him, but also to pat down the mud. It's like a hammer, kind of, is his tail. And his teeth are called chisels. They're these they have iron in them, and it helps him to chop down trees. So I'll post some videos, Dennis and Avaya, on Google Classroom for you guys to maybe look at, that kind of shows how the beaver builds his home and things like that, okay? So that's the pond habitat. So let's go ahead and answer our questions on 70. So number one, it says, where do beavers build their homes? Obviously, in the pond. Go ahead and write that, in the pond. And then all right, so the pond. So number two, what does a beaver use to cut down trees? Obviously his teeth. Okay, number three, how does the beaver help the pond? I gave you several reasons. Give me one of the ways. Well, how does a beaver's home help the pond? It makes good soil around the pond. What else? It makes the plants around it grow and thicker. It makes the pond wider, deeper, and it also filters the water. What that means is it cleans out the water. It takes out the bad stuff of the water. So you can write any one of those. The test, I will ask those same questions on the test. Yeah, that's good. On the test, it'll probably be 2, but yeah. Okay, we have that. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and go into our social studies. Let's talk about a growing America, the War of 1812, page 80. Hmm. I think they do. I don't know. Okay. All right, so guys, if you remember, after America became free from England, America worked hard to grow as a country. They became the United States of America. They even added more states, right? But as time went on, they still would have troubles with England. If you remember, I told you guys that England, remember, America would trade with the people in Europe. They would trade often. And England interfered with their trade, meaning England had kidnapped some of their sailors from their ships, and they tried to stop their trade from happening, right? Because the trade business was a way that a lot of people made money in America. Yeah. And so they tried to stop their trade, and this caused conflict between the two, and the two went to war again. And this war happened in 1812, and it's called the War of 1812. And so Europe, I mean, the British soldiers from England came to America, and they began to conquer cities in America. Remember, Washington, D.C. was one of the cities that they were able to capture, and they burned it. And their plan was to capture Baltimore, Maryland as well. There was a Fort McHenry, it was a very important battle station for America. And the British wanted to capture Fort McHenry, because if they would capture Fort McHenry, they basically would win the war. So during that process, they kidnapped some people, Dr. Beans being one of them. They kidnapped him, right? Because he was arresting some of the British soldiers for the wrongs that they were doing. So they kidnapped him. Dr. Beans had a friend, Francis Scott Key, who wanted to rescue him off of the ship. So Francis Scott Key went to the British captain, spoke to him, asked for his friend to be set free. And they were going to set him free, but they told him they would have to stay on the ship until after the battle was over, because they knew if they would let them go, they would tell the American soldiers that they were planning to attack Fort McHenry. So they had to stay on the ship, and they had to watch the battle. In the middle of Fort McHenry, we know that the American flag was lifted up, and Francis Scott Key, as he watched the battle go on, he watched for the flag, right? Because he knew that if that flag was still there, then Fort McHenry was not captured, that America still had control of the fort. But if the flag would disappear, then he knew that the British took over and they captured Fort McHenry. So he watched as the battle went on page 82. He watched as the battle went on. He heard the cannons, heard everything. Finally, when morning came, he saw that even though the flag had holes in it, it looked like cannons hit the flag was still there. And so it inspired Francis Scott Key to write a poem called The Star-Spangled Banner. He wrote this poem to express his just how grateful he was, excited, how it was watching the battle, and then how it was seeing how America came out victorious in the end of it all. And so after time, someone decided to put music to the poem, and then it turned into a song, and then now it's known as the national anthem. And I told you they usually sing it before, like basketball, football games. They usually sing the national anthem. It's called the Star-Spangled Banner. Okay. All right. So then 84 we discussed. So let's go ahead and answer the questions on 84. And guys, you can see that actual flag at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. You can actually see that flag that was at that battle. They have it kind of in a where you can see it. Safe. Okay. Okay, so number one, who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner? What's his name? Francis? Francis Scott Key. Francis Scott Key. Okay. Write his name, Francis Scott Key. Yes, Dennis?
When will I do the rest of my phonics test?
We can do it tomorrow. Okay. Number 2, which American fort was being attacked by the British? What was the name of the fort? Fort McHenry. Yep, Fort McHenry. Okay, number 3, what city was the American fort built in? What's the name of the city? Go back and look on the page. It's in the book. Go back to page 80. What city? I told you it was not Washington. No, not Washington. That was the other one. Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, so now think about it. Why was it important to the American soldiers at Fort McHenry to keep our flag flying? Why was it important? Yes, to know that like America was still in the battle and they were not captured. Ooh. Okay. Awesome. All right. So then on 85, guys, after the War of 1812 ended, there was another man, a choir master, Mr. Mason. Remember, he would often write, that's lunch? Oh, okay. He would often write different songs. And so he wanted to write a song that brought honor to America. So he decided to write the song on page 86, My Country 'Tis of Thee. And so, he wrote the song, he composed it, and it just talks about the land. So I'll post the songs, Dennis, and if y'all want to hear it and listen, okay? All right, so next week, guys, on 88, we'll be moving on to America's Pioneers, and we'll talk about that, okay? All right, I think that's it almost spelling. Let's go over spelling, and we'll be done, guys. I pushed so we could finish where so we didn't have to come back later. All right, go ahead and get out your spelling so we can go over your Greek and Latin. Yes. Sure.
Your screen's buggy, Miss Regents.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
There's something wrong with the screen.
Oh, yeah. I see that.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. All right, let's go over our list. List 19, page 38. Okay, let's go through it. Number one, joyful.
Joyful. Claire. Glare. Claire.
Next one. Okay.
C.
WARNING. Warning. Creation. We're on 7. Creation. CREATION. Useful.
USE
Useful.
useful.
Careful.
Count.
9. Yeah,
Careful.
my bad. Careful.
CAREFUL.
10. Fountain.
Fountain. FOUNTAIN.
11. Treasure.
Treasure. TREASURE. Treasure.
Okay. 13. Wars.
Wars. WARS.
Motion.
Wars. Motion. MOTION. Motion.
Little.
Little. LITTLE. Little.
Big.
BIG. Big.
17. Small.
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 Excuse me. All right. Vocabulary. 18. Nervous.
Nervous. NERVOUS. It
Inquire.
means
Oh,
feeling
sorry.
uncomfortable.
Okay. 19. Inquire.
Inquire. INQUIRE. And it means to ask.
20. Repair.
Repair. REPAIR. Repair. It means to
Okay.
fix.
Let's go ahead and look at your Greek and Latin. Greek word hypo.
Hypo.
It means
HYP.
under. Mono.
Oh,
Monos.
under. Monos. MONOS.
Alone. Latin word. Montes.
Montes.
It
MONTIS.
means hummus.
Hummus. HUMUS.
Means earth.
Folium.
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 Means leaf. All right, awesome. So guys, we covered everything we needed to do. We do not have to meet this afternoon, okay? So we're done for the day of Dennis and Avaya, all right? Y'all have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow for Bible. Bye-bye.